that hazelnut?
Tap out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, I smelt it, and I'm like, I don't remember him drinking hazelnut
I dealt
coffee
it.
a couple different times.
Gross.
That'd
The
be-
hazelnut
That'd
coffee,
be
I
awesome. That'd be awesome. Just fart and it's hazelnut. I'd fart all the time.
I don't know
I'd
if
be like,
that would be awesome.
oh, it'd be pretty sweet.
Sweet.
Well, nutty.
Terrible.
Just give a little, and you're like,
Hazelnut.
they should have little filters for your butthole.
Oh, that is maybe. Now, that might be the best idea I've ever heard.
Just you fart, and it's just like,
It's like an air freshener that you plug in.
Exactly.
Plug-ins.
Plug-ins. They would have to.
plug-ins.
Oh, see.
Butt plug-ins.
It'd be like butt plugins.
That's terrible.
No? Okay. I'm trying to think of a good name because plugins is already taken.
Butt plug-ins.
But you'd be like,
to go.
all the way, you'd have all the seasonal, flair.
Right.
And they're like,
I got.
be like, Sean, you might
Apples
need
and
to.
cinnamon.
Yeah, you might need to change that filter. It's like,
Is that fresh linen I smell?
yeah. They're like peppermint stick. And I'm like, yeah, it's peppermint stick. You're like, you need to change your filter because that was a little like peppermint with the side of something else.
This is terrible.
People would be just farting everywhere.
Holiday ones, holiday releases.
Exactly. Pumpkin spice.
God, we need
Fresh
to make a
pine.
commercial for fresh pine.
That's fine.
Home for the holidays.
New car smell. We're not even in a car. It's the filter.
Are you making a commercial now? Is that That's awesome.
That's what happens when I'm on the air.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In, episode 104. I am Jeremy Superpro 33.
I'm Craig Prof Dresser.
And I'm Sean Shonix.
How are you guys? I don't know what I was saying.
You stumbled there.
I stumble all the time.
You've done this like 103 times before.
More even, with all our bonus shows.
That's true. And all the practice shows we do beforehand.
Are you just going to berate me?
Yes.
Berate.
Par for the course?
I know. No, it's usually me berating you guys. Well, I can't take
that's
it.
right.
That's still
I
gonna
give
happen.
it. Yeah, that's, well, maybe even more now.
You are a giver.
Anyway, how are you guys doing?
Doing
Is that
okay.
better?
Doing okay.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Everybody's
good.
okay?
I'm good.
Yes.
Other than my fever dreams last night, but I should
Oh
be.
my goodness.
I had a fever last night that was weird. Woke up to Rihanna.
Was not my usual fevers, which
Wait,
are awesome.
wait, you woke up to Rihanna. Was she there?
No, she was on the TV,
Oh.
and she had all this psychedelic stuff happening behind her, and I was like, I'm going back to bed.
On Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. I was
None of
like,
that was happening.
I know what.
She had a,
We confirmed it prior to the show.
she had a kids choir behind her. I
Yeah,
don't know what
exactly.
you saw.
Exactly, and the song was totally different. She was doing a holiday mix.
She was doing a Christmas song.
Yeah, and I was like, man, she's talking about diamonds in the sky.
That's an awesome fever.
But it's feeling better today.
Good.
So,
Excellent.
Good, because we need you here.
I'm here.
We do. In the game.
Because
Are
we
you
don't,
in the game?
I'm in the game.
we don't, it's in the game.
EA's now going to sue us. Damn it.
I don't have a lot to talk about. It's been a
don't
disc
either.
heavy week,
Yep.
like couple of weeks for me. Like
Well,
I've been
it
putting
is
a
that
lot of
season.
time. It's terrible because I feel like I've been spinning my wheels for a couple weeks, like
Is the season to burn your
looking
disk drive?
looking for things. But since Borderlands 2, like I've been digging for like disc games.
Yeah, yeah,
And now all of a sudden I have like 3 that really need a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have no time.
That's what games are doing to me in general.
Ugh.
This is why I stick with the shorter games.
I could take that. I thought I was going to get that. So anyway, I checked out some WWE 13.
Cool.
I checked out some Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah.
And thanks to this guy over here, I also checked
Thanks,
out...
Greg.
No, the other guy.
That was podcast magic, right?
I had plans that got completely torn down, and I was going to check out Halo 4 for this show, Halo 4, because you know that I'm riding the Halo 4 sack. I love it.
Well,
right?
we're
I've
doing
been
a
hearing
private. We're
great
doing
things
a.
about the story.
I have too.
Actually.
See, yeah, and that's what's got me all upset.
I have two.
upset. You get upset.
Because he doesn't want to play it. Now he has to.
It's like good campaign's gonna win me over. Stupid campaign being good.
Why is it going to be good?
I hate it.
I can't even hate it. So I was going to check it out, and then I ran into Sean last night. He's like, hey, that Need for Speed Most Wanted. holy shit. I'm like, I was going to check it out, or I was going to skip it because, the last one last year I wasn't too hot on. So I checked that out instead. So Halo will have to wait.
Excellent.
For next episode.
Yeah.
What do you guys got?
Not a ton from me. I got some XBLA in there with PID and Karateka, I'm guessing is the pronunciation.
I don't know.
Did a couple demos. The new Disney Epic Mickey 2 demo just came out this week. And then, because I saw it advertised, I was assuming it was new. I tried out the Spec Ops The Line demo. And then I've got a little bit more to say with Dishonored, but I've been playing a lot of Xbox stuff lately. Yeah.
No,
I've been playing more PC stuff.
Like what on PC?
Hotline Miami in particular, and then I cannot break away from FTL. Faster Than Light, which is such an addicting game.
Yeah.
I think you would actually like that a lot.
We should have a segment when we have nothing like this, no other indie games where we can just talk about that stuff. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
Because I want to play.
I can say some stuff at the end or something.
No, don't worry about it.
I don't want our Xbox listeners to be like, "Oh my God, what are they?"
First
doing?
off, fuck those guys.
OMG.
All of them. And the ladies. I don't want to leave our
Thank you for not being
female
sexist.
listeners. Right, I don't want to leave them out.
Fuck them all.
Fuck all you people. We all play all games. It's okay. We're not switching to a PS3 podcast, so
No.
we're okay.
Unless you guys buy me one.
Next time we'll talk about it because I'm gonna play Hotline
Buy
Miami
me
and I want to talk about it probably.
Okay.
So we'll talk about it next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Sean,
Yeah.
what do you got?
You led me Skylanders.
I did.
Thanks for that. I was like,
You gotta get that
catch
to
'em all.
Craig too. so
I
we
was
can
like,
play.
I know. I was
I'm
gonna
gonna be lucky to pry it out of
Yeah, I was gonna box.
Should've given it to you first.
I was gonna box it up today,
Yeah.
and bring it down. But I was like, I really haven't because I spent a lot of time on that, and then Need for Speed came out.
Yeah.
And then you were like, no.
And I was like 3 seconds away one day from going to Target. That's how this game has got
Yeah,
me because I'll talk about
Can't wait.
I'll talk a little bit more about that. But Need for Speed came out like you were saying, and get ready, signed in podcast.
Why?
Because this game is
Oh, Need for Speed?
Oh, yeah, it's probably going to take up a lot of my time. And I'm going to be referencing... It might take the place of Paradise City, which...
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
That's pretty hefty.
That is hefty.
So,
It's been a lot of years.
that is
They
not
need
wimpy.
some kind of replacement for you. So
Yeah.
it's good.
But I downloaded a lot of stuff.
But you didn't play it.
I didn't.
right, well,
I
thanks.
didn't. Because the disc games took over.
I just stopped mentioning that.
Here's a preview.
No.
If you had given me Skylanders first, this is what it would have been like. I played up right until about where I would have gotten the first achievement. Then I stopped because otherwise I would have had to play it all the way
You
through.
would have had the need.
Yes.
All right, well, then let's dive in. Since we don't have any indie, we'll just jump right to XBLA then
That's
this
right.
week.
Which it starts off with actually an indie game, at least indie on the PC.
I'm
and
confused.
stuff. PID.
Okay.
From Might and Delight sells for 800 Microsoft points. So this is basically a puzzle action platformer in that basically it doesn't do a great job of kind of giving you an idea of the story, but I know it because I've been reading about it online. And so you're this young boy, Kurt, I believe is his name, and you just kind of wake up on this strange world inhabited by all these different robots, and some of them are kind of helpful for you, and some of them are evil, and you're trying to figure out what's going on and find your way home and all of that good stuff. And you kind of wander around and you happen across these little glowing gem things, and you can throw these gem things, and where you throw the gem, it creates this anti-gravity tunnel or, beam.
Okay,
basically.
yeah.
And so that's what you use primarily to kind of get around. That's the puzzle platforming aspect of it. So you're trying to get around in the world, and you're going to need to use these anti-gravity beams both to kind of maneuver Kurt around the world, but also to do things like affect, like there'd be these security cameras that are pointed down. You can't walk into them because then you lose and have to restart from the checkpoint. And so, you can throw down an anti-gravity beam and it'll shoot up straight up into the air because they kind of just shoot out of what surface at a 90-degree angle from whatever surface they're on. And so then the anti-gravity beam will push the camera up so it can't see you and then the beams stay for 9 seconds. And the game didn't tell me this, but I figured out from reading the menus that you can press B to cancel the beam if you want to cancel it first. So, and then there are these enemies around, and you can pick up different items basically that you can throw in addition to the little anti-gravity beam gems. So you have these bombs that you can use to destroy enemies. Now, I came into PID, I had read about it and seen videos for it before, and it's got this very very minimalistic art style to it. It's sort of a it looks like a 2.5D, but it moves more like a 2D. And it's really nice looking, and it seemed like a fun mechanic using these anti-gravity things. And I had a really hard time getting into the demo.
Really?
And a large part of that is because I couldn't finish the demo. Like, I tried like 5 times to get through to the end. Now, part of it may be that I'm trying to accomplish things that maybe I could just skip and move on with.
But we all know you, Craig.
So really, you couldn't.
Well, no. Here's my issue with it is that the basic mechanic for the game relies on throwing things, basically, both in terms of the gems that create the anti-gravity beams, and then also like bombs or whatever you need to use for whatever purposes. It's a one hit, you're dead sort of scenario. You can pick up these life vests that allow you to get hit twice, basically, but you can only carry one life vest ever at a time. And so you throw things, and so you have this hard lob, basically. There's no way for you to aim where you're throwing. At least I could not figure it out.
Okay.
If somebody wants to prove me wrong, please do, because I think seriously, I think my appreciation of the game would increase immensely
If you had control over
if
that.
I could throw it in a direction, or at least figure out the arc that I'm throwing it in. It's an invisible, you can't even really do like a highlight to see where you're going to toss it. And so for a lot of situations where you're just kind of throwing it in front of you, that's fine. But there are a lot of other situations where you're up in the air, or you're tossing it down into a ravine, or you're in an anti-gravity beam, and so you're going to have to throw it before the anti-gravity beam continually pushes you out of itself. And you'll miss a lot of times because
So is it kind of
you don't know where it's going to land.
painting in my head? It's kind of a scenario where you gotta I'm going to have to jump over this thing and place this while I jump, so I hit it and
That
then
happens a
propel
lot.
myself.
Yep.
So you're trying to do it in the flow of movement,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That happens. I mean, sometimes you can do it kind of more relaxedly, but there are times where you're going to have to put yourself in a different situation in order to do it.
Okay.
Or you're going to have to throw it a long way and make it land on like a angled surface or something to that extent. And so that would be okay if I could just continue to throw them, but you only get 2. So if you throw a third one, then it deletes the first one, and they happen in sequence. And you can turn off beams, but again, they happen in sequence, so it's going to be the first one. So there are a lot of times where you have to throw one anti-gravity beam, ride up in it, and then use that height advantage to throw your second one. And if you fuck up, you basically have to start over from the beginning.
Right, because you throw another one, you fall from where you're at.
Right, exactly. And then, I was kind of expecting to be able to because you can maneuver around within the anti-gravity beam, and you can fall out of the anti-gravity beam on purpose. But it seemed really difficult. So another problem that I was encountering was throwing bombs to get rid of enemies, in particular these flying enemies that when you get somewhat near them, then they'll charge up and, zoom where you're at. And so, as I'm trying to, the problem is that I would get into these anti-gravity beams and sort of slowly rise up to where I'm trying to get to. Meanwhile, this fucker is trying to hit me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, I got these bombs, and I miss with the bomb because it's moving really fast at that point. I can't get near it or else it'll charge at me. So it's like this weird, I don't know. I had a hard time with it. I've read things about how the bosses are really hard and they have multi-stages, and that if you die with your one-hit death, you have to start over at stage 1 again.
Oh.
If there's anything I know about Craig, he likes one-hit deaths.
Oh, yes. Those are my favorite. Well, I object more to one-hit deaths, one-hit kills when normally you're not a one-hit kill. I mean, here, that's the basic tenet
It's the game
of the whole
mode.
thing. Yeah, and so, going into a boss battle like that, I would kind of expect
get you.
that a little bit more. There are a lot of checkpoints, so it does allow you to kind of, you don't have to backtrack
That's good.
really far, but I found myself repeating a lot, and I just kind of got sick of it.
Yeah, it still sounds just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's something I'm doing wrong.
So on the
and there's a way
throwing,
to aim it.
on the
but
throwing, it's not always the same.
it's always the same arc, but
You don't see it.
You can't get like a trace outline.
So it's almost
for
like
it
you
or
need to get a feel for it and just like
exactly. And I didn't have the patience to do that.
right, gotcha.
Especially because the times when it was, a lot of times I did have a good feel for it, but then the times that I didn't have a good feel for it were the times where it was absolutely necessary that I nail it on the first shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When there are enemies attacking.
And then probably the 8th time you do it, you're like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, basically. So, So I really wanted to like it more than I did. If somebody has some advice for me, I would love to hear it, because I wouldn't mind going back to it with different strategy or something like that. But
cool.
Yeah, it fell a little short for me. Then also with XBLA, I did also play, actually, quick side note, the Sega Vintage Gallery,
ToeJam
and Earl.
Yeah.
And, if you don't have any nostalgia for those games, there's nothing really there, especially in the demo, which only lets you play the first ToeJam and Earl, which isn't really a platformer like the second one is, but is more of just kind of wandering around. And I'm like, really? I get the weirdness of it, and that's kind of cool. But really, this is a game?
It was a different time.
It was a very different time. Yeah, it was. I know people.
You got to play that in your house, though.
I know people who thought point and click adventures are really boring. I don't agree with that. But, and then I'm like, wow, they would. Ooh, what? This isn't even a point and click.
Lacking on some adventure for you?
Yeah.
I really hope the 7-Up spot game comes to the arcade.
I'm waiting for
What about
that.
Avoid the Noid?
Well, that one, maybe, but
I actually played that on Nintendo.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, don't ruin all my jokes.
Mine wasn't even a joke.
Either was mine. I like that 7-Up spot game. He had
All right.
sunglasses
You guys
and he
are
walked
losers.
around and...
I know what the
Hung
spot
out.
is.
Anyway, so I'm not talking about ToeJam
Look what you
and
did.
Earl. I'm going to talk about Karateka, which is from Liquid Entertainment for 800 Microsoft points as well. This reminded me a little bit of Kung Fu Strike.
Yeah.
Did you play it as well?
I didn't play it. I looked
took a
at
look at it.
it. Looked more like a fighting game, though, to me, like a versus, but screenshots.
Kind of?
Yeah.
So-
and that's what I was wondering.
So it lacks...
Tell me more.
It lacks the swarm battles that you got with Kung Fu Strike. And instead, it's more of a... you could call it an on-rails kung fu fighter, I guess.
Wow.
Because, so here's the deal. Evil Japanese overlord stole this lady because he wanted her, and then you can be one of 3 different guys to go save her. I think you start off as True Love. That's how they identify him.
Oh, okay. Is that his name?
I don't know.
TRU?
You don't really get the story element of it very much. And so then basically what happens is you run forward until you get to a new guy, and then you wait until they attack, and then you block it, and then you punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick until they dodge that, and then you have to block an attack, and then you punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, and then they eventually fall, and then you run forward until there's another guy, and then you block
This doesn't
his
sound
attack.
fun.
And sometimes you
You're
can
trailing off.
Sometimes you can build up your chi, and then you can stun them, and then you can punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick, until they dodge your attack, and then they're going to attack you, and you have to block it.
Block it. Okay.
Now sometimes they have different types of attacks.
You just broke the game.
They have different types of attacks where you'll have to block more than once in a sequence, and there's a little musical cue that tells you which one you have to do right before they attack.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And then when you block it, do you punch,
Then
kick,
you punch, kick, punch, kick,
punch,
punch,
kick,
punch,
Punch, punch, kick, not kick, punch.
punch, kick?
Well, sometimes I would do like punch, 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 punch.
Oh, well, now you just mix it up.
Yeah.
So there is customization.
Right. It's got a lot of
Well,
depth.
good.
Okay. So you can punch.
Sorry.
You can punch multiple
I'm
times.
being a dick here.
That's all right. That's what we do. Sometimes.
It's a great looking game, and
I heard there's a lot of punching and kicking.
there is actually,
And some blocking.
One of the great things is that it gives you little tips as it load screens, and one of them was, don't just spam the buttons, and then I'm like, what? And I realized, oh, they mean don't spam the buttons when you have no chance of hitting them until you block. Because after that, I'm pretty sure spamming the punch and kick is the preferred method.
Point of the game.
Because there's no combos or anything like that.
Oh.
At least not in the demo. I mean, it could be that you gain new abilities. It didn't
They
seem
should at
like
least
it.
have that in the demo. Like
It didn't
one,
seem. I
you
mean,
know?
they didn't really give any sort of indication for that. So, I guess it's basically a story, but you just, I don't know, you kind of end up running along this track for a long period of time, and moving in a very linear fashion.
Yeah. I mean, Kung Fu Strike had a little bit of that to it.
A little bit, but
they mix it up at least.
Right,
This
right.
one, it doesn't sound like it.
at least not in the demo.
Yeah.
I will give that caveat.
Okay.
At least not in the demo.
Yeah, but that's how it gets people to buy a game.
Exactly.
It sounds accurate to me because all of my true love involves lots of kicking and punching.
That's
That's pretty much how it works, right?
Basically.
true
real.
love. You can put it on your license plate.
It's true love.
TRULUV. There you go.
So maybe check it out.
I mean, there is stuff to like similar with PID, you know.
Yeah.
I do recommend people checking it out. I just kind of got a little bored with it myself.
Gotcha.
But it was really pretty, and it functioned well. Just didn't fail at me blocking
That's good.
things
Or kicking or punching.
Kicking or punching. I almost said picking or cunching.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never cunched in my life, but it doesn't sound good.
I can't even say that because if I do, my face will fall off. Seriously, that word is the worst word in the world.
What, cunching?
Ah,
I don't know what it means, but it
probably doesn't
it
mean
needs to be a new term.
It means to put a fist on your foot and then hit somebody with it. Come on.
I don't think that's what it means.
No,
I don't know what it means, but it's nothing good.
no. I could kind of come up with a couple of things for that one. No.
This is the best thing we've ever said in 104 episodes, by the way.
This is our new write-in contest. What is...
Yeah, please. You tell us what cunching is.
That word's right up there with clot and moist.
All right, should we
you
move
combine
on?
those, make it cloist.
Cloist.
I was going to talk
I'll
about...
clench you right in your cloist.
Chihuahua.
I was going to talk about The Walking Dead episode 4.
Yeah, and
Because I picked that up, but
not good things happen.
I started it up, and all of a sudden, I was being driven in a police car away from.
Yep. That happened to me.
Did it too?
I think me and Jeremy talked about it on the way
Yeah.
down that one time, and we didn't. We
no,
didn't
you talked about it on the show, I think.
Oh,
that
we did?
Your save was
Oh,
all
I had
gone.
forgotten.
Yeah, and then what
I was going to say, talk to Sean.
Yeah,
Here
what
he
I
is.
Did,
Talk to him.
What I did was I just went back and restarted the game, and I was able to get to those save files again.
I only have one save file.
Well, that's the thing. I had to do that every single time. Like, every time I play the game, now my save files aren't there. And then when I...
No, I have save files. It says episode 1.
Yeah, well, what I'm trying to say is, like...
It says 0 hours.
I stopped playing and I didn't save it that first time, and then when I went
That's
back,
what I did.
backed out, went to the Xbox
Yeah, I did
dashboard,
that.
came back in, and then all three were, or two were there that I had. I had two save
Nope.
files.
They're still the
And yours are all gone?
I only had one, and yeah, it's just
Okay.
episode 1, 0 hours.
So now I go back, I have to do that every single time I play that game.
oh, okay.
I go
No,
to go to pick a save file and they all say empty. I go out, restart it, and then two of them are there again.
Oh, yours wasn't empty. It just said, it says chapter 1 or whatever, but 0 hours or whatever. It doesn't say empty.
Are you choosing the wrong save area?
No.
Because I had it empty once, but that was because I
Had it on the wrong
I think I went to the cloud
location.
instead of going to the hard space.
No, mine is all on my hard drive.
Okay.
So it's like it happens
It's
every
hard
single
space.
every single time I
mine's
play the
different
game.
anyway. So
Regardless, that sucks.
It's frustrating. I will play through it all.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna wait till episode 5
Right.
now and just
Yeah.
go. If I'm gonna have to devote a huge chunk of time to things, I might as well just go for it all. Go for the gold.
Might as well.
Zombie gold.
Well, sorry to hear about that, because
Yeah.
I wish you would have got to play 4.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I did play through 4, up through the last 2 chapters. So,
And that's when it disappeared?
no, I quit, and then I came back, and then it was gone. Yeah, with 2
Wow.
chapters missing. So,
Oh.
yeah.
See, that didn't happen.
So that's a
to me.
different scenario, yeah.
Mine every single time my files aren't there. Every single time.
yeah.
So it's a totally different
All right, well,
situation. So
we'll
there
look-
must be bugs with that game.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe.
Just a
I'm
tiny.
thinking.
Just a tad. Tad buggy.
It's still a good game.
It is still a good game. And we'll look forward to 5 because that'll be out this month
Yeah.
some point, and they usually don't let us know until 3 days before it comes out.
Pretty much.
The
yeah.
week of. Oh, by the way, it's coming out this week. So it'll be wrapping up, and maybe we can play through it then. And
Yeah.
I'll be finishing out. You'll be finishing
Yep.
out. We'll talk about it then.
Cool.
Awesome. Should we move on to Disney? We don't have any other XBLA, right?
No.
We're burning through this episode. This is the
That's right.
shortest in history. Let's bring it to a grinding halt with some disc games.
Or demos.
Let's do demos because I completely forgot.
Quick one for Spec Ops: The Line. Like I said, I saw ads for it in the game marketplace, and so then I'm like, oh, did they just release a demo? And then I checked later. I'm like, no, this came out like a long time ago.
Like back when the game came out?
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe even before.
Maybe.
Now, Jeremy talked a lot about Spec Ops: The Line, and it really kind of whet my appetite in terms of giving you things to think about and sort of
I don't like your setup here.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were setting me up for a fall.
No, my setup is that it's a demo, so it's the first couple levels.
Right, yeah.
So it's a basic shooter.
Yeah,
and they kind of
you don't get that story.
They kind of
element.
gloss over some of the story in the middle, but all you get to experience is some basic shooting stuff.
Yeah,
and the shooting was okay.
Yeah,
it was kind of difficult for me.
I'm trying to remember back. I thought it was. I'm trying to remember if I had difficulties with it or not at the beginning. I thought that it was pretty good at snapping onto people.
There are too many fucking different kinds of weapons. Well, there's a snap-on. I'm not sure if I had that on or not. I should have checked that. But yeah, and so I was having a hard time finding ammo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe that the solution is to just grab whatever weapon's handy. But you know, then I would have waves of guys, and so then it would make it different.
I do remember having to switch out weapons quite a bit because I would run out.
Well, just because I was also trying to avoid the shotgun because it wasn't very good unless you were right on top of people.
Right.
So
as
a shotgun would be.
Unless they have it and then they rush up on you with their shotgun.
That is correct.
Like a douche.
Well, at least that other dude always said, "Shotgunner coming up," or
That's
something
true,
like that. Every time.
That's good. They do rush up on you.
He was good. I did like kind of giving commands like because there was this one part where there's this fucker just shooting me from like way far away. I'm like, what the hell? And I'd already thrown like my sniper rifle away because I was figuring I was going to be closer. And you know, one of your dudes is a sniping expert, so you know you could hold down the right bumper button and highlight that, and you know it would tell him to kind of get in position to take that guy out. And so, and the other guy would throw like what flash grenades at people.
Yeah,
that was pretty good for if I got too hairy. And you know, I kind of liked the little setup there. That was a lot of sand though in Dubai.
It's a lot of sand
because
it was a sandstorm, so the whole like
oh yeah, I've heard of sandstorms before. I'm pretty sure they don't fill up the land all the way up to the top of skyscrapers, so that there's a valley in between the skyscrapers.
Right, it was a natural disaster.
Right, that is one fucking hell of a sandstorm, is what I'm saying.
All the sand.
What the hell?
It was bad.
Wow. Yeah. No.
Situation.
Apparently.
Bad situation.
No, it was a really cool environment to kind of be in it because it gave you this kind of weird, surreal, almost alien feel, but also very urban.
Right.
You know, and so
where like the rationalization that you're like walking among these skyscrapers and you're like level with like the 30th floor or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're standing on sand.
Yeah.
Like the whole way through. It was weird. A lot of nice buildup of that around that city.
Yes.
So
a lot of handy rappel points set up.
Yeah, well, that was handy. People had to get around.
That's true. That's true.
There's other people there.
Yep. They didn't really seem very good for climbing though, because they were usually like 10 feet away from the wall. Because it wasn't so much rappelling as just kind of sliding down the rope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it seemed pretty good. It was just, you know, after I played it, I'm like, well, of course, I'm a fucking idiot here. I'm not going to get the stuff that I was interested in because this is a goddamn demo.
The character building and the like progression and all that stuff, you know, that's only going to come through playing it over time.
Right,
so.
Exactly. So, you know, not my fault. Or not their fault. My fault is what I meant to say.
No, it's not your fault. You're innocent of everything.
Yes. Sweet. Can I get that in writing?
No.
Shit.
What else? You got another demo, don't you?
Disney Epic Mickey.
Which I didn't know came out.
Dos.
And I'm bummed about because I want to check it out.
It's the sequel to Disney Epic Mickey, in case you were wondering.
I was.
And in case you're wondering, the game pretty much really lets you know that it's a sequel to a game that came out before because Mickey's teaming up. Basically, there's this world where these disused tunes were kind of sent. Wasteland. You know, really nice way to name it. You know, real confidence building way. You know,
That's right. They don't have feelings.
And so Mickey, I guess in the first game, teamed up with this rabbit, Oswald.
Yeah.
And they fought against this mad doctor guy. And things happened. So then they won. But now... Shit's happening again in Wasteland, and like there's all these earthquakes and stuff, and so the Mad Doctor shows up, but he's a good guy now. He wants to team up. He wants to team up with Oswald. I don't foresee that going wrong at all.
You don't trust him?
What? No, I trust him implicitly.
Oh, okay, good.
I gave him my credit card numbers and everything.
So what do you not see going good?
It's Oswald that's going to turn.
I just said,
the twist.
I just said I foresee it going well.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Sorry.
foresee any problems with that.
Right.
And so Oswald's right on board with that.
Yes, he's sold.
And but Oswald's girlfriend's like, "Fuck this.
For real?
We need to call Mickey." And so
That'd be awesome if that was actually in the demo. She's like, fuck this.
it was a deleted scene, I'm pretty sure. You just got to get the before and after. And so they bring in Mickey, and Mickey has to go steal like this, because he's a thief. He has to go steal this magic paintbrush from the wizard. Yeah.
Right.
And the magic paintbrush allows you to shoot out paint or thinner. And so those are I don't know if these were mechanics in the first game.
Yep.
Okay. So you can either create things by spraying paint on them or, just shooting out quick bursts of it. Or you can delete things by throwing out the thinner. And I guess if it's the same mechanic, whoopee. So basically it seems to be a primarily co-op game. Where Oswald then has his own special abilities. Mickey can double jump. Oswald can spin his ears and kind of float. They can team up so that Oswald can kind of carry Mickey across areas. And Oswald has this remote that can activate electronic things or can stun enemies.
So if you're by yourself, do you switch between them?
No.
So how does that work?
You wait until the AI does what it's supposed to do.
Ooh.
And sometimes the AI is waiting for you to do something. Even though the narrator guy's like, you need to do this, Oswald. And then Oswald's like, I got it. And then you're kind of standing there. I'm like, what the fuck do I need to do?
You don't got it.
And then I realize, I got to
no
paint
dupes.
this shit up here.
Okay.
So, yeah. So
That seems like
it seems like it's much better if you're actually playing with somebody.
Yeah, and like, why wouldn't they have some kind of like Lego scenario where
was
you could
totally
between
expecting
the two people? That's what I expected when you were talking about it too.
Nope, you're stuck as Mickey.
You're
if
always
playing
Weird.
one player. Yeah, it says grab a second controller and press select to activate whatever. So
Whatever.
and some of the jumping could be very challenging. It's one of those games where it's like the subject matter seems very children friendly.
Yes.
But then it's like, well, this is actually pretty challenging.
Like as a platformer.
Platformer.
Yeah.
Not that kids can't play platform as well.
Here's what I remember from Epic Mickey. No, they're terrible. Here's what I remember from Epic Mickey is that there was a lot of problems maneuvering around, and it was some camera issues, and it was me. I know where I need to go, but I can't see the proper way to jump there, or I couldn't get the camera positioned in the right way where I couldn't see where I needed to make the jump.
Right.
And I seem to remember that from the first game when I played a little
I
bit of
didn't
it.
experience that in the demo,
Okay.
at least. My biggest issue was kind of teaming up with Oswald to fly across ravines because I would throw Oswald in the air and then he would be too high up for me to jump to grab his legs. And so then I'd wait until he descended a bit and then I'd jump on and we'd go across and then I'd get shaved off as we hit the cliff as Oswald just kind of stood
And you
there.
fall.
Yeah.
Nice. That's handy.
I know, right?
That's great.
But it's a gorgeous game. We play so many of these games that use their graphics to try and portray real people and stuff, like humans and such. And there are always a bit of flaws with that. So you just can't quite do it. But it's really actually quite a bit of fun to see it with cartoon characters where they can pretty much achieve perfection of what they're trying to do.
Right.
And it has a very impressive quality to it. They have a couple different filters, like when they're doing the cutscenes and such. I think it's still being animated, but it's still being rendered or whatever, but it's got like this filter to make it look a little different or whatnot. It is always creepy to look at Mickey because how he's always drawn so you can always see his two ears separately, and so he's got like this kind of fin that moves around his head as he moves around so that his two ears are always in profile.
It's a little awkward.
That was actually kind of cool, but I just got mesmerized by it. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here?
I'm a sucker for Disney.
Me too.
Which is ridiculous, but it's true. So I'm we'll definitely check it out on the Xbox. I didn't like it on the Wii originally. You know, when the first Epic Mickey was out, I tried to play it, play a little bit of it. I wasn't enjoying it, mostly because it just looks like shit when you play it on the Wii.
Sure.
And I just want something on the HD system, so I like that it's going to look better.
So you're going to get a Wii U, and
I'm totally going to get a Wii U. I can't wait to get a Wii U so I can stare down at me, at my hands, and play. Because that looks like fun.
And not at your TV.
Right.
Yeah.
What could be more fun than a control, like a
what are you talking about? You just hold it straight out in front of you.
That's right, and then look at two screens.
So you have a giant
Fucking
DS in your room.
I'm not falling for that one. I'm not.
That Epic.
By the way, I'm probably going to get it.
Yeah. That Epic Mickey, that was like, I wanted to really play that game.
Yeah.
And then the peripherals that they had for it were really cool. Like
the paintbrush.
Yeah. I mean, they had a lot of neat stuff.
Like, do they have ears that you put on?
You have to wear the ears.
That's your headset. But I'm interested in it. I'm glad that you saw it on the demo screen, because I saw the Avatar wear, but I was like, why is that up there? And I couldn't put two and two together in my head. Like, I was like, well, maybe they're just putting Epic Mickey stuff up there, and I just was done with it. But that's nice that it's coming to this platform.
Yeah,
so.
I do recommend people checking it out, especially if you've got at-home second player. I think with two players, it
you have a robot at home.
I mean, it does require some coordination. Like, there was this automaton guy where, you know, Oswald had to kind of stun him, then you could jump on the button on his head, and then Mickey had to, you know, use his paint to change the blot that was inside the automaton.
It might be good with the right player. I don't know if it's just if you have somebody there else at home that is able to hold a controller, that maybe you should not play with them.
What?
I'm not speaking from experience at all. I'm just saying maybe. Should we talk about something else?
Like, jump.
Let's do that.
Are you gonna jump? Jump. Sometimes two players.
There's nothing over there.
Sometimes two players at home can get a little bit.
Can we just move forward? There's nothing over there.
Quit playing a game like a girl.
There's nothing over there. I don't ever say that. That's her saying it to me. Actually, I think that's happened.
Probably.
It's not fair.
Yeah.
There might be something over here. Would you stop playing that game like a girl? Sorry.
Oh,
it's all me. All right. So is that it for demos? I'm sorry. I don't want to step on any more toes.
That's it.
Let's move on to disc games.
Okay.
Touch back on Skylanders.
Sure. What do you want to tell us about Skylanders?
I hate you for letting me borrow that game.
Don't hate me.
I don't hate you.
You should hate Activision
Don't
for sending
hate the
us the
loaner.
review copy.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, I do hate them. And if they want to send more of them, I'll hate them even more.
I hate
for
them,
it.
but we would love to check out the other figures. I'd love to hate them more.
Thank you for putting the poster in the box.
Yeah,
and
no
keeping
problem,
all that
buddy.
stuff. Those little cards.
Yeah, no problem, buddy.
Those little cards. Hell, those are awesome. Like, the whole aspect to this game, and the whole, like, if you're an action figure lover like I am,
Yes.
even though these are in action figures, the fact that you can put them on a little stand and then watch them move on the screen, pretty freaking cool. I've played through a good chunk of the game. I don't know how far you got through it.
Not very far.
And
Because I was like, I'm done with this.
the replay ability for this game is fantastic. Some of the levels, I didn't know that I had to, like, break something to get a treasure, because they show you at the end of the levels everything that you've accumulated.
Right.
And some of them, if you don't break it, then you don't get to break it, because you only get like 2 or 3 different ways to do it. Because like your giants can't even smash it. You have to get a brick and throw it at it.
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm killing people, and then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to destroy that thing to get a chest. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So the replayability's there, because I was going back and replaying some of them. I think is Patrick Warburton
I think so.
that he
Because he sounds like the Tick.
yeah, and he makes me laugh like all the time. The customization of your boat or your ship, your flying ship, I think is pretty sweet, because you can get little pieces to put on it.
See, I didn't even get that far, I don't think.
And it doesn't change anything, just the look of it. Like, I got this cool, like, dragon headed mast on the front of it.
It means nothing, but you love the like those aesthetics.
And the fact that you can find that kind of stuff. I like the characters that you meet and come across. And what I also like about the game, and I didn't know how you die in the game. Your character kind of gets knocked out, and he has to rest. Well, if you have a ton of Skylanders, you can finish the level out.
Yeah, so
because
you switch out.
You just keep putting.
Is that when you take damage you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll take damage, and then they'll say you need to replace your Skylander. He needs to rest. He's tired.
Otherwise, can you just have to stop?
So
you can just hit Y to replay the level to restart
it's
the
kind
level.
of similar to Pokemon. I mean, when your Pokemon got knocked out,
Yeah.
you just throw out another Pokeball.
And I think that's what's kind of like, I was sitting at home and I'm like I got through the level, I replayed it again and got through it, but I was actually like, I could go and get 2 Skylanders. And
the worst.
No, and that was the thing. Like, I was seconds away. Like, I was like thinking about it like hardcore, and then I'm like, I can't do this. I can't.
It would be a slippery slope, my friend.
And I want to get that Crusher, the Crusher guy. Oh, I want to get him so bad. And there's a couple other ones I really would like to have.
Oh, that's so bad.
I want it. Give it. But
I foresee you two pooling together.
Right. Oh, it would happen. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, they save it on the character, right? So when you started playing it, it already had the levels and everything? Or
no,
does it not?
It did not for mine. I think it's
So
on
it's probably keyed to
system.
or
Save
that
file.
could be, or keyed to your user ID,
Yeah, it could be.
your gamer tag.
Yep.
I didn't know how it worked.
So
I thought
they-
they stored on the character, but maybe not.
Yeah. So they were leveling up.
You want me to cut open the figure? Find out.
No.
Okay.
But the especially the Giants and how they light up.
Yeah,
like,
that was awesome, right?
and that thing's always lit when
Yeah.
your Xbox is going. So like summertime was watching Netflix, and it was just kind of, she didn't even really
Oh, the
notice it
portal?
at first.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like glowing, and it's just like, that thing is so neat. And I tried to talk to her into playing some 2-player. I'm still trying to talk her into that. So
Well, good luck.
but the levels are really fun. It's a kid's game, but still there's some parts to it that it's just like you.
The horde collector in you.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, but like some of the levels, there was an ice level that I went to, was really fun. They had like the bowl, like an ice bowl, and you had to run to get out of it. And I'm like sitting there going, this shouldn't be so hard. It's like, well, why is this?
It's a kid's game.
I know exactly, but and I could just see a kid come over to the house and be
Nimble
like,
fingers.
They do.
But,
They have tiny little fingers.
I enjoy it. I like there's all these little side parts to the map. That's the other thing too, is like when you get into those longer levels, and then it's just like you have to get that Skylander to open that section up.
Yep.
Which I think is fantastic. And also the fact that they show you above, there's an icon that says this Skylander is more powerful in this section, even though you can still run through it and beat everybody up. But it's neat to know that you can switch them out to get like perks and pluses, and it really entices you to buy more.
I was going to say, it's brilliant marketing.
Yeah.
Completely.
And if their arms moved, if the figures' arms moved,
They were articulated
a little
That's
bit,
probably the next Skylanders.
and I can't wait for that.
Articulation.
And I like to see that there was like
Joint masters.
human type.
Joint masters.
I think there's a human type character in this one. She like carries like a big wrench, and then there's other fairies and whatnot. But just for them to go out and get licensing and get, I mean, if the game takes off, I mean, it could be really neat.
Like other characters and
Yeah,
stuff.
you could buy one Skylander, then buy another smaller one that you could put in as its head.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, like a Transformer Skylander.
Stop. Just stop. If the next series they had started doing mystery pack ones, I'm all in.
Well, you and the mystery pack.
I love how it's more enticing for
Correct.
you to not know
it's
that you're getting
ridiculous.
your
Like I
money's
can't.
worth.
I would like exactly because you might be getting more than your money's worth.
True.
That is what is. It's
fair
the
enough.
gambling. It's on the level of gambling.
Yeah.
Right.
So if I don't know,
Like those-
I might be getting some. For if I spend $10, I might get something that's worth $50.
Yeah.
I might get something worth 15 cents. But hey,
But
the mystery is the way to go. That sells me.
those Black Pack Hot Wheels, I don't know how those sell, but they sell. But now
they
I
like
know
mystery Hot Wheels?
Yeah. So now I know how the market.
That's me.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm a sucker for
now
it.
I understand that.
Sucker for the
I would,
blind buy.
I would want to know what I'm getting.
No.
Now, if they put like a 3-pack and they put the mystery in there, that's enticing to me because I'm like, well, I know I'm getting those.
Well, they
two.
could do that. They do 3 packs of the Skylanders. They
Yeah.
could do a middle one that's like a mystery one.
Yeah. But a lot of fun. Everybody's probably talked about the game that's played it, but I really enjoyed it, and I might let Craig borrow it.
He might like that. Or maybe not. Maybe he doesn't care.
You'd have fun, I think.
Do we have any other touchback games?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think.
Just a quick few words about Dishonored.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you finished it, right?
Yeah, I did. And last time I was talking about how easy it felt. And I think, in retrospect, a large part, and I think I mentioned this on the show as well, was because I was doing the ghost run, and so it was very low chaos. And so it wasn't like there was a lot of guards being added. It's not like there was higher security or, you know, more dangers because, you know, I was leaving the world relatively safe.
Right.
At the end of it. And then I hit that point where there was going to be that twist that I anticipated. I was correct.
Way to go.
Yeah, I know. I felt really proud. And then things got really difficult for my ghost run, simply because the number of people kind of around just automatically got raised because of the story, not because of my influence on there. And then I went through again being quite vicious.
Yes.
And murdering everybody, basically.
Awesome.
And it was really unpleasant, actually, because I think part of it's because you have the choice. And so knowing that I could just sneak by these fuckers and they would not even know I was there, to be like, I'm going to stab you all in the neck and watch and hear you gurgle as you die. It's like, why am I doing this?
Because they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
And they deserve it.
I mean,
didn't that make it feel better?
It didn't feel so weird when they were attacking me.
Yeah.
And I was defending myself.
Right.
But you know, the times when I would sneak up behind somebody and
you could have just walked by
and jam a knife into their ear or something like that, you know, then it's like, okay. All right, gonna move on here.
You need to be more of a sociopath, then you'd be fine.
Basically. And you know, a lot of the changes, there were quite a few changes to the game itself. It did play a lot more differently, especially in later levels. And there were the predicted changes that they told you about.
Yes.
There were a few things that kind of surprised me, like, well, didn't surprise me, but they were nice things that they didn't have to include, but kind of added to it a little bit, in that people's attitudes kind of changed. Not necessarily some people's attitudes about you specifically changed, but then also just the way that people behaved was kind of different, just because it was a different kind of world that was building.
Right.
There were some genuine creepy results because of my viciousness.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
I could spoil it for you later if you wanted, but
yeah, probably.
It was kind of neat, but then I got to the end and I'm like, ugh, that just was not nearly as satisfying as going through and, you know, beating everybody without them knowing it.
So I wonder if you
that would be the route I went, not the stealth
killing
route.
everybody.
I stare at this game whenever I'm at Family Video. Like, I keep looking at it like I should try this game out. I should.
You can play it however you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'd be the knife ear gurgle guy.
Knife ear gurgle. That's on your business card.
Yeah, knife ear gurgle guy. Yeah.
Knife ear gurgle guy. What's this all about? And then you stab him.
yes.
Or it's on your pen that you used to stab them with. It's nice.
Correct.
So you enjoyed it though.
I think it's a good game. Cool. Yeah.
And it's doable to get through without killing anybody, because you did that as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did 2 major playthroughs and I got everything.
What I was going to ask is, would it maybe have been a better route to? I know it's more of your nature to play the pacifist. Would it have been better to switch those and do the violent beginning?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been more satisfying to end with that,
and then end
rather
on,
than
you
end
know,
with
the
that's
negative much better.
Note. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
instead you're left with, I feel terrible.
What would be really fun is to not have a preset goal for playing it, but you know, I was renting it, so
yeah.
I'm working on a
time
constraint. Yeah, but have my first playthrough just be kind of organic, where it's like I probably would have been trying to sneak, but you know, all those times that I got discovered, then
maybe more of
a
mix of the two.
Yeah, a middle,
which is kind of how I was playing it.
Sure.
You know, I was killing when I had to and when I needed to, but most of the time I was just sneaking around.
And to be perfectly honest, I'm kind of, by doing it the way that I did, I was kind of forcing the game out of its comfort zone in terms of being able to switch up.
That's true, yeah.
And so I was saying I'm not switching up between things. Although I was stealthy sometimes in my murder spree. That's the gurgle.
Gurgle. Well, cool. I'm glad you had fun in both ways, at least.
Yeah.
Or I mean, maybe less fun on the stab route.
It was,
but like you said, you didn't really play a
see,
mixture of the two.
But there were still flaws with it, like the whole outsider thing. I forgot to talk about him in terms of the story flaws, where it's like there's this outsider guy, and he's the guy who gives you magic abilities.
Yeah,
because.
They don't really say. See,
and he shows up and he kind of comments on what you're doing, but his comments stay the same between the two of them.
Oh, really? So he doesn't get changed at all?
No. Yeah, and it's like you just run into him and he's like, "Oh, how's it going, man? Yeah." you're killing things, huh? Or, it's like, wow, you're going to make changes. And then, and there are other things in the world that kind of make you think about the outsider in ways sometimes.
Yeah.
But the outsider himself is really kind of a non-entity.
Yeah.
And it was really, I'm like, it felt like the game designers were like, oh, we need to give, it would be awesome if we could like do these supernatural abilities. Why does he have supernatural abilities and not everyone has these supernatural abilities? I don't know. Some fucking guy gives it to him.
and what's that guy do? He shows up and says, "Hey, good job, buddy."
What's his name? Outsider, whatever.
Because he's outside,
right?
Stay gold, pony boy.
So it still felt like there were some things that weren't quite as nuanced as they could have been. But yeah, overall,
I was kind of left on the story too, where I was just like,
yeah, yeah.
But I like the gameplay a lot, so good for it.
Yeah, yeah,
good to hear. All right, I checked out some WWE 13.
Yeah,
you want to talk about that quick?
I wanted to try that.
I'm so out of touch with wrestling.
And out of time.
And out of time. So I used to watch wrestling quite a bit as a kid. Took a break. Watched it again as a young adult.
Is that when I jumped on the bandwagon?
Yeah. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, because I was coming from
era.
the WCW era, and you were still watching WWE, and then I came in when the two combined. It was almost like I was
everyone thought you wouldn't get along with each other.
Yeah, I was like the WCW guy.
You invaded.
Yeah, I totally invaded WWE.
And then I got out of it again because I grew up, I guess. I don't know. No, it's not fair to say because it is still entertaining.
Ouch.
No, I didn't mean ouch. It can be entertaining, but it got really dumb for a while there. Shortly after their whole Attitude Era thing, and it got really dumb. And I blame it
on Chris Jericho and Benoit. That's all. Not Jericho, but Edge and Benoit. That's what I blame it on. Because he never got to crossface him. He crossfaced Benoit.
Wow, you're going back to a specific storyline issue.
He crossfaced Benoit. He stole his move. And
Benoit, and now he's dead.
And now he's
dead. He'll never get to.
Exactly. He never got the gore or whatever Edge had, the spear.
He'll never get his revenge.
He never got to steal it. And that upset me.
It's so unfortunate.
All right, I'm sorry.
Remember when Benoit had both titles?
Oh, and he'd walk out?
He had the championship and the tag team title?
Yep.
Was it him and Jericho?
I think so.
That were oh, man. That was a good time.
I think so, yeah.
That was a good time. And he just walk up and put it in front of everybody's face. That was awesome.
even if the belt wasn't on the line, he would still show it.
I love that your whole break, though, came from Benoit not getting his revenge on Edge.
That's when it started to fall.
That is awesome.
Okay.
That's great. We totally sacked Craig over there. He's out.
Awesome.
He's out of it. Craig, did you ever watch wrestling? Were you ever a wrestling fan?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, but you're not so much anymore, or not for.
No, it's just I would never commit to watching it regularly. I'm like,
do you say commit or admit?
Commit.
Either.
It'd be like, wrestling's on. I'll put this other thing's on.
Yeah.
So
I liked the game. The reason I started watching wrestling actually was through wrestling video games.
Nice.
Strangely enough.
So you can I want to know what this guy's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know what's up with this.
I'm like, this dude's in a coffin. What's up with that?
So I have a storied history with wrestling. So it's like, I've done it for years and been into it and out of it and into it and out of it. And I'm currently out of it. So when I pick up a game like this, I look at the roster and I'm like, I have no idea who half these fucking people are. I don't know what's going on. So I don't know storyline, what's going on, who's who at this point. There's still some people that have been there forever, so they're going to be familiar to me. But my main draw for this WWE 13 release was this whole Attitude Era mode that they put into the game, which is reliving that era that was really its heyday and the most popular it had ever been.
Yeah.
And that's, when it was exciting to watch again. So, back in the late 90s, so we're talking 96, 97 through the early 2000s. And so there's this whole mode in the game where it's the Attitude Era and you're playing through with these old events and these old storylines. So you're playing through the formation of Degeneration X.
Yeah. Sure.
And then you're playing through the rise of Stone Cold. Austin, and then you're playing through The Rock.
It's kind of like Legends, where you're recreating events, but it's more pinpointed to
which is what I loved about Legends.
I remember.
Yeah.
And that was going through those older matches in the 80s. So this is now catching me on my resurgence into wrestling in like my second coming into wrestling in the 90s, my golden years, right?
It's weird how they've spotlighted both those eras
because they were when they were good.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of weird.
So basically, I know that I was right in my viewing habits. Like I watched it at the right times. If they're recreating these times, so you're replaying these matches, and they give you a goal for the matches, and it was an awesome way to learn the game as well because they don't really give you a lot of control information. A little bit of, it's pretty boiled down and basic and simplistic, which is nice because I remember towards the end of some of the PS2 days, some of those games were getting a little more difficult as far as control wise and like countering and, setting up your different moves. This seems a lot more just boiled down to a couple different button presses, whereas you have your strike and your grapple. Yeah. And then depending on where you grapple them from, you do your different moves. And you can switch that around. And so there are some intricacies that you can get down to if you wanted to look into that, but at the base level you kind of knew what you were doing. But what they do with these matches is they give you your main goal, and then there's these bonus objectives, and basically you're recreating the matches from their time by doing certain moves or lining up certain things, having these other events take place. And so some of them are a mystery, and they don't reveal themselves until you do something else. So you do this part, and then now your new goal shows up.
I see.
Or somebody will come down to the ring halfway through the match.
Correct sequence.
Exactly. You can. There's some of them you can do out of order, but I think some of those, like you said, with the mystery thing, it's so that you do them in the right order. Right. They also interject actual footage. So they have like some.
Did they do that in Legends?
I think that there was some of that. Okay. This seems a little more seamless.
Sure.
Because you are just rolling through to the next match. Yeah. And so, for instance, the DX stuff, there's like 13 or 14 matches in that. There was a lot of matches throughout the course of this whole mode. There's a ton of time. I mean, that's what I spent all my time with. I didn't even go in and play any of the other stuff. Oh, I spent all my time with this because it was at least interesting. Yeah. They incorporate some in between some of the matches. Sometimes you'll get like a video package that kind of highlights what you just saw. They do a really good job of like recreating these moments and like even down to the camera angles. They put in some of the audio. So like some of the commentary is actually even the original audio from the matches and stuff that they were happening. Nice. Which is awesome because for the first time in playing a wrestling game, I didn't have the completely repetitious commentary because it is very specific to the actual thing you're doing. Nice. I'm sure if I went out and played a regular match, I would run into those where they're just saying the same thing over and over. But this allowed me to play multiple matches and not really hear the same things because they're talking situational about what you're doing. And sometimes it's the original, voice stuff or commentary. Yeah. Really awesome. It was just a fun way to play through and a blast. And the only other problem that I had when I was playing through it was there is some audio issues where at the end of the match, like when they go into their little
victory lap.
Yeah, and they're running around, and then the audio that comes in from the commentators is way high and like really pitched out and like screaming. And I don't know what the problem is, but the level is completely wrong. And it would only happen like maybe once every 5 or 6 matches. Yeah. And it would just be like that one, and it's like all of a sudden it's like I had to turn it down. It was terrible. Yeah. I don't know what the problem is, but they should fix that because it's bad. So there's that Attitude Era, which was a blast, and it was a lot of fun to recreate all that, even with the Kane and Undertaker shit. That's a whole section, and I hate them, both of them. Yes. Like I always hated them, and that was a fucking bitch to get through for me because it's like, oh, good, I get to fucking play another Kane match and Undertaker. Great. So that wasn't great.
They're big guys.
They are. They're big guys. Yeah, I like that. So as you're playing through and you're going through that Attitude Era, you can beat the matches, but if you do all the little bonus objectives, they unlock other content. So that's unlocking like your additional wrestlers and then you're adding those to the roster for your main game that you can play. So basically you're unlocking all these 90s versions of all these guys or just them in general. You're unlocking other modes, like arenas. And then there's also you're unlocking bonus matches. Nice. So there's bonus matches that'll pop up as well that don't necessarily particularly like go with the actual thing that you're in. Yeah. But they're like a little side thing that maybe lends to it or like had a little side story that was going along with it. That's cool. So those are really awesome. And then they have the regular gameplay still where you can go through and that takes the place of their career mode because the actual career or like the universe mode is more like you're playing the promoter where every week they have the matches set up. You can change up what the matches are. You're basically setting up your own universe and like driving your own storylines.
Interesting. You don't play as the wrestlers at all?
You can go in and play in any of those that you want.
Oh, so it's basically,
But there's
like
no bonus to.
It's like any sort of manager mode.
Exactly what it is.
An NFL game,
and that's kind of what they've turned it into. So, so it's really more about the customization and making the universe you want. Because
do you get to decide how much money to spend on the bus?
You don't.
And stuff.
You don't. Not that I saw as of yet.
Hire catering services.
No, not yet.
For the green room.
I don't think it gets that specific.
Okay.
But you can like.
Let me know when it does.
But you can change up. You can make stables. You can change up people. You can like put new people in. You can make tag teams and then like create that whole universe. So if you're really into that, like generating content, like you could do that and then play every once in a while. You can have people run in, set up your whole universe. That wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And, and then, of course, you still have the one-on-one matches, or you can play online with other people, and go that route and just mess around and have fun. Customization is still all there with making your own people, making your own entrances, all that stuff. It boils down so minute, like with everything you want to do. So I didn't mess with any of that stuff. I really was interested in playing that Attitude Era and kind of getting to relive some of those.
Right.
And nostalgia was at an all-time high for me on it, and I loved it.
That's awesome.
I thought it was just great.
It's nice that they put that in with the 13 release. Instead of having its own disc release, like they could have done like a Legends 2 or whatever.
Yeah, they certainly could have,
and had almost the same type of genre, but them putting on that disc is.
But then it would have been like there wouldn't have been much to it because like I said, that other mode doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah,
and you're kind of just playing randomly. So I liked them having at least some kind of driven story.
Right.
And it was fun to be able to relive the stuff that I was into.
I'm trying to think of the last wrestling. I think it was 11 or 12 that I played, and I created my own character, and it was kind of like the original like SmackDown back in the day on PS2 that we used to play. But it seemed like I got to that main event, and I won it, and then I didn't show up again and I hated that because I wasn't playing any of the other games. I was waiting for my bill to show up.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, why aren't I showing up? And then
what about me? What about my time?
Come on, I'm not just a jobber.
Give me a shot.
Exactly. And then it was just like they let me go through the thing, and then I'd show up on a couple Raws here to yell at Miz, and I'd be like,
and you're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, I was like, what is that, Real World guy? Great, this is awesome. So
it is awesome.
But this 13 sounds like I've been wanting
to at least play that mode.
No, I've been trying. Honestly, it's been rented out, and I'm not going to pay money for it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I mean, I would agree because I don't know that I care about the regular, the current stuff. Yeah. So I don't know that it's worth a $60 purchase for me to play that section of it.
Exactly.
If I was into it, I maybe would.
Well, you unlock all those characters, then you play one 90s guy, Sean plays one 90s guy, boom.
It doesn't have everybody I would want.
So picky.
I would want No Mercy from N64 or like WrestleMania 2000. Like those are the rosters I want. I want that. I wanted the
customizable characters.
I was playing this, and it made me want to pull out the N64 and put that shit in there because I wanted to play as Benoit.
Yeah.
Finally get that crossface on Edge. Show him what's what.
Man, that was so heartbreaking.
Throw him into the ropes and then catch him when he comes back. Yeah.
Oh man.
You're so bitter.
I am. I don't care when Edge dies, I still think I'll hold the grudge.
You might dig him up and put a crossface on him.
You're like, now it really can never happen.
Yeah, I'll spear
never.
him. I'll spear the coffin.
Oh, it's terrible. All right, let's move on.
Yes.
How about that?
Please.
Some Need for Speed?
Need for Speed.
Most Wanted?
Yes.
Let's hear about it.
The title says it all.
You want it?
No, it's like I was a little apprehensive about the game because I played, a couple of the Need for... Once Criterion picked up, or I guess went on Need for Speed, the old Paradise City kids, I was a little bit like, oh, yeah. And then I played a game, I was like, no.
Well, Hot Pursuit, I mean, we enjoyed it, and it felt like it, but it was was so much structure.
Yeah.
And like really just like kind of a bare bones Paradise City. Almost.
Yeah, I mean you just went on to race.
Yeah.
And that you'd start at that track. This one is a free world.
Yes.
You just roam around, drive around. It's got gates that you can crash. It's got billboards that you can smash. So far it's pretty close to Paradise City.
Yeah, I ran into you and you were like, it's like New Burnout Paradise, and I was like, maybe I will check it out. Yeah. And then I checked it out and I ran into my first billboard and I'm like, oh fuck.
But the thing about it is,
no good.
they've changed up those little attitudes of the game, and then the billboards they're more they're tied to jumps.
Yes.
So like you'll go through a jump, hit the billboard, and then if you win that billboard, you're on the billboard. Your profile pic is on the billboard.
Nice.
Which is awesome. And so they've also incorporated a lot of really just like real-time leaderboard information.
Yes.
So there's also these speed cameras you go by that clock you at whatever speed you're doing. But when it happens, it'll also pop up a little leaderboard that shows you where you rank compared to everybody else on your friends list that's also playing.
Nice.
But there are also like little word balloon-like things over them. So you can see them even when you're driving up, and you can see kind of where you're at versus everybody else. And that happens with all the billboards. So you can see that. And then whoever's tops on your list, it's their little icon that's on the billboard now.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it says wanted.
Funny.
So I have there's a bunch of Polis podcast billboards in my town.
And I got a bunch of signed in ones.
I gotta go find those and turn them into Polis. But
You should.
But they have the game starts off. They have jack spots. This is a little bit different from the Paradise City game. Yeah, jack spots.
They might need a different title.
Yeah,
I think we've come to the conclusion.
like I read that, I'm like, Jack. Okay.
Here's a jack spot. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I just get a car.
Is it right next to the jerk circle?
It's actually behind it.
Okay. In the middle.
Corner.
There's a jerk circle, and then there's a jack spot. That's dead center in the middle. Yes.
Oh, so you'll pick up your car, and each car has, I think.
So anyway,
between
the jack
4
spot, what it is, you know, because we just started with our fucking jokes.
Yeah.
Because we're 12. The jack spot is
It's
basically
a bad name.
there's
I mean,
cars sitting all around the city. So in Burnout Paradise, for instance, which I don't want to keep going back to that game, but it's the easiest parallel to
They
draw
are
'cause it's
very,
really close.
very similar.
You would unlock
Very.
other cars by doing like races and getting your license up, and then that would unlock cars. They'd show you that they were driving around, and you
Yep.
could go crash them, and then you would get the car.
Sure.
So how it is in this game is that there are cars just sitting around, and they have the cars, the maker logo above them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you see them, you pull up to them, you hit Y, and you basically jump into that car.
Yep.
And now you're in that car. And you can drive, and that's how you capture the car. So you basically just have to find them all around, and they almost become like billboards and gates,
Sure.
Yeah.
where you have to find them, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Little.
And
bonus.
I highly
It's a lot
recommend.
better system than finding all the cars in LA Noire.
Yes, it is much better than that system.
I highly recommend, though, once you see a car, because you can see the symbol from far away, even
Yeah.
if it's on top of a building, you can see the symbol, like a Subaru symbol is like floating. The thing about it is if you see them, you've got to get up to the car and have the Y thing get prompted. Then it marks it on your map.
Yes.
But you can still see them, but they don't get marked on your map. Because I had a couple cars where I got close to them, like, ooh, but I didn't get that Y, so they never got the mark.
Why didn't you just get in the car?
Because I just looked at them.
Because he was in the middle of doing something.
I was driving, and I'm like,
Here's-
ooh,
here's what I-
look at this. This is a Chevy, Camaro, but I'm driving an Aston
Just
Martin.
run into it.
But you can switch right back out.
Yeah, I
that's
know-
what I started doing.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Is like, I just
But I didn't do it at first.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't know how to get in and out of cars.
but each
I don't know how to switch back to them.
in each car you start pretty much stock, and then as you go through these races, stock cars, yeah. But you've got you don't have your nitrous, you don't have different chassis, but you go through these races, and if you qualify, get first, you usually can get your car pretty much upgraded. But each, I think, first and second both have like a chassis upgrade or a boost upgrade, or it depends on the race that it is. Some of them are straight up races. Some are time trials. Some are the cops in this game. I think is a great, and this comes from the Hot Pursuit game.
Yes.
I love the cops in this game because they're on the streets. So, like, if you do something bad, I was going like 70 and I flew by a cop. Nothing happened. I rear-ended somebody, really, like, tapped them, and then it's boop, boop, and I'm like, great. And then you had to evade them.
Yeah.
But they become, like, there's some races you'll do where the cops aren't involved at all. There's some races that start off, and then next thing you know, cops are on you. Or there's some that you start off right away, and you're up to level 3.
Right.
I think it goes up to level 6 on it, and then you have to go through a cooldown. If you go through some of to change your car, because you can go through the little gas pit stops to fix your car. That will bring your thing down a little bit if there's no cops around.
Right.
Which I thought was really nice about the game. But I really like that how each car has a different race, and then you just fill up to get your car boosted. So I always go for the nitrous like right off the bat.
Yeah, because it
whatever
drives me
race
nuts
that
to
is.
drive a car without nitrous after
Yeah.
you have a car with it, because there's such a lack of like speed to it.
Yeah.
And also there's this whole easy drive mode, like how you select all your races and your cars.
So it's
and
kind of fast travel?
A little bit.
Sort of. What happens is that it's easy drive, so you hit right on your directional pad, and it pops up a little side menu that
and it's Connect enabled too. I haven't tried it.
It is Connect enabled, so you could actually say the words and then like while
up.
you're driving and not have to do it, because it is a little. You're trying to drive with the left stick, but you have to move your hand down to hit the pad.
So while you're waiting at a stoplight.
That works.
Yeah. Well, you don't really
Waiting
stop
at a
at
stoplight.
stoplights.
While you're parked in the middle of the road,
Yes.
letting everybody honk at you, and you're like, "Settle down! I got to change my car."
I'm about to disappear.
So it pulls up a little menu that's on the top left side, and that allows you to see the other races available.
Yep.
I can't remember what the name of what's their online connectivity thing called. Can you remember? I can't remember at all.
No.
Anyway,
Multiplayer.
no. But it recommends some of the races as well, or it recommends some challenges based on other friends and where they're at. But then there also is that's how you select your races, so you can go in there, see what races are available. You can drill down to it tells you how far away that start point is for the race. And then you can basically set as your destination, all just by hitting right on the bumper pad, on the D-pad. And then it maps out your path, tells you where you need to go. When you get there, you just hit LT and RT at the same time, and it starts the race.
Yep.
And so it's all just really on the fly and super easy, and it's easy to pull up that menu. In that menu is also how you upgrade your car, so you can change any of your settings on the car. You can jump to a different car that you've already found instantly in that menu. So I can just choose, I want my Porsche. No, I want to go to the Aston Martin that I found. And all that stuff is also on the fly. It's really fast, and it's really just simple and easy.
And there's different locations for each car. So let's say you find the Camaro, it may be on this side of the map or on this side of the map. So if you're like, well, I need to go over there, I'm going to pick that car, and I can just, boom, fast travel to that. Or you can drive to it if you want to. Some of the races, if you've already done the race, you can just start the race right off the bat, which I think is fantastic.
Without having to drive to it again?
Yeah, like not having to go to it.
That's awesome.
They always on that menu have retry your last event is always
awesome
on there. So you can it's always there to do. God, I mean, there's just I don't know.
There's a lot of stuff.
And then there's the 10 most wanted cars. Now the 10
I
most
haven't gotten
wanted
into this yet either.
The 10 most wanted cars, they have a point. So once you get to those points, then that car becomes available to take down or to race. And then once you beat it in a race,
are these other players or are they
nope,
just AI?
this is just AI, and they're like your Lamborghinis, like your Porsche Spidey concepts. You know,
like
most
a leaderboard or something.
they're like your fast cars. And Tracy Chapman drives most of them. That's who your favorite. Never mind. I'm sorry. That
were
was
you
bad.
dropping a Tracy Chapman joke?
That was bad. I said
a fast car.
Yeah. Oh my god. We might have to edit that one. Right?
1987.
No editing
here?
on that one. Okay. But then you race down those cars, and then when you win, when you win, you get to shut down the car to win that. You have to shut it down. You have to knock it off the road for you to get that car. And the best thing about that too is because there's sometimes where you finish a race and it's like pandemonium. You're already at like level 5 with the cops are on you
because that doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't. So you have to evade them or take that car down. And there's been times where I've gotten in a crash and the car's gone. I'm like, great. How am I going to find this again? A lot of times if you just go to like about 10 miles an hour and just sit there and just kind of idle,
it'll come by
it
you.
will fly and hit you. It will straight up
I love that.
hit you.
What a dick.
And it's so, and then that just gets you more like, oh, you're done.
Right.
You know? But this game, I was kind of like, I don't know what this game's going to bring. And then when I started playing it, it just automatically pulled me into that feeling I had from that Burnout game.
Those cars, those most wanted, they show up after you get to a certain score level, or like point level, because you get points in the game as you do things, as you complete objectives, and like just smash the gates and things like that. You keep going up in level. So I probably haven't gotten to the point yet where I've gotten any of those cars unlocked. So they'll just start showing up. Is that what you're saying? Like driving around?
Well, they won't show up. You have to go to their.
Oh, okay.
You start the race. You get to choose it. Yeah. So I had unlocked like 3 or 4 of them before I actually went and started racing them. And they're pretty good cars. I mean, they're the most wanted, and I don't think you see any other ones out on the road other than the different. Like there's 5 different Lamborghinis and 4 different Porsches and that. But yeah, and I love it because once you get the hang of certain cars, and get the control of them down, those become your key cars. And that's how I was in Burnout, where there were some faster cars, but I couldn't control them as well as this car. And I may not have had the speed, but I could maneuver and make it work.
I'm trying to remember in Burnout Paradise, when you wrecked, would you just restart where you were at again?
Mostly, yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
It's been so long.
And then you can get busted.
Because that's how it works in this game, too. So.
The cops can bust you. You can get away pretty...
Which is really...
You can get away pretty easily unless they're really good cops, because they'll just like be in the front and the back of you, and you can't move.
You get a point bonus for escaping them, and I think it's tracked on the leaderboards, like that stuff. But getting busted doesn't really do anything to you. You just don't get any more points.
And you start where your car...
Because you start right there.
You don't start... You start where your car originally found. Yep. Which can be kind of a headache a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you can get to that part pretty easy.
But it's fun driving there again.
If I have one nitpick...
Yeah.
I feel like I'm driving in Burnout. Because some of the map feels very familiar to me. And it's like there's certain... points through the map, like certain areas that I feel like, here's a shortcut coming up, and it really works.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we were talking about it. It definitely Burnout Paradise feels a lot more arcadey.
Yes.
This doesn't feel like it has it. It feels a little more realistic. So there's like these awesome things you see, and you're like, oh, I can drive all over these places.
Yeah.
But I remember a lot of elements of Burnout Paradise where we were just like. It was like a fucking playground.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I don't feel like this has that playground that I've seen so far, where it was just like some of those things were ridiculous in Paradise.
Yeah.
Where all of us are just going to be flying through the air, like in all these places. And I don't see that happening in here as of yet.
Not
like
really.
any of the places I've seen. It looks a lot more realistic. It looks beautiful. We didn't mention anything about that. I do want to make sure that's clear because it is fucking amazing looking.
It looks
the
fantastic.
Lighting effects that they use for it is incredible. Like there's to the like glare that you get on the sun, like from the sun, and it like makes a little like rainbow thing on your windshield.
What engine are they using? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's
beautiful.
Awesome. And you'll come out of a tunnel, and they'll do like the big burst where it's almost white because your eyes are adjusting, and it's just and. I was playing, and Aaron's like, I don't like that stuff because I can't see what's going on. I'm like, I love that stuff because it's fucking realistic and it's great. Right. So it looks amazing, and I'll just play tooling around and spinning out just so I can see the camera shit that they do.
Just the puddles on the streets and showing reflection on them.
It's great. It's amazing looking.
The sparks when you hit cars. It's just there's a lot of things to it. It's got a really nice soundtrack to it too.
Soundtrack's great. It opens with a fucking Muse song. I made a whole playlist of all my Muse songs. And so I can't imagine how anybody's having more fun than me because
it brought over my.
It sounds insane.
It brought over my playlist from
I don't know
the snowboarding game.
Oh really?
So because SSX?
Yeah.
Well, you still have your playlist saved on your hard drive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll recognize in any of those games that allow playlists.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean playlist of your own songs?
Yeah, but that one I made.
I thought you meant like a playlist for the game songs.
I made that for SSX though. Because it's SS Ecstasy.
Yeah, but it's your own songs, right?
Yeah, but I don't have the playlist on my hard drive of my Xbox.
Where is it at?
I don't know.
It has to exist somewhere. It has to be.
It's in the EA server. Isn't that aren't they both EA games? I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is EA, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
That can't seem right.
Because I
don't know.
I have other playlists on my Xbox, and those don't show. I'll have to look into it a little bit further.
Something weird.
Yep. But I think
regardless,
that's
it's awesome.
I do have
Tracy
a little
Chapman.
I do have a little problem with the audio though. Sometimes it's like your music, you've got to adjust the sound too much. I
tweaked it a lot.
Yeah, and I think that their levels are a little off on theirs, so you really have to make it work. So.
I agree.
But fantastic game.
Awesome.
Don't know if I'm probably gonna buy it.
Probably.
Come on,
the after Thanksgiving Day sales are coming up.
I heard they're going to make a portal so then you can put your car on top of it.
Oh, no. Don't even. Do you know they just opened up?
If they did that.
Like Hot Wheel cars, and then you could buy them and then put them on there, and that's how you unlocked them in the game?
No, that's
switched.
And you just buy cars.
And then your car's wrecked. Switch out your car while it's getting repaired.
Let's do it. Somebody get on that shit.
See? If they allow me to play with toys and an Xbox at the same time, done.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm it. Assassin's Creed 3. Does anybody else have anything else?
No,
close out with that?
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 3.
That's a dramatic music there or something.
I might. It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks really, really good. So you know there's a caveat coming to that.
No.
I've been having a hard time getting into it.
Yeah.
I did not. I loved.
You're like, where's my tower defense?
I was not like that. Thankfully, there is not that. So,
there's no tower.
so first, are you all right? First Assassin's Creed, I thought was okay. 2, I loved. Fixed a lot of stuff. Brotherhood, I loved. Revelations, I did not like at all.
Neither of which were 3.
Right. Did not like at all.
Okay.
3 opens up, and it felt a little weird at first. It felt a little different.
Yeah.
There is a reason for that, but I'm not going to get into it.
Okay.
Because it does involve story stuff.
Okay.
That changed a little bit as I got in. It just took so long to start. Like, it feels like there's like a big
I've
ramp.
heard this criticism that there's like hours upon hours of coaxing you into it.
Right. It's almost like a 3-hour jump start, and then it finally starts proper.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like it starts proper. And then it's like you're starting over. It's like I'm like almost 3 hours in at least. It might have been more, where I was playing a game that didn't feel right. Then I was like, oh, okay, that's why it didn't feel right. Now it feels right. And then I start playing it, and it almost felt like it was starting over with tutorial stuff. And I'm like, I just did this. Like, I shouldn't be getting the same tutorials after I played for 4 hours.
Do you think maybe it's because, Assassin's Creed 3, the 5th game in this series, might be somewhat intimidating to people who have not played it before? And
it's possible. I think
they're really hand-holding.
I think they do run into that risk, when they've got this many games, so people probably at this point already know how to play it. But they still got to cater to those guys who are picking this up for the first time.
But from the sound of it, it's like more intricate than the steps that they took in the previous game.
It is. It does. It did feel like that from what I remember.
Strange.
And in fact,
holiday season.
Here's the thing, though. It does have hand-holding, but then there's other aspects of it where, and this is one of my other problems with the game.
To hold somebody's hand.
Why?
I feel that it's too big.
Yeah.
There are too many things. It's running into the Rockstar realm of things where
I've heard
there's too
GTA
much
5
stuff.
is even bigger.
Okay, well, I'm okay with that. I think with that game, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
This, I want to like experience the story.
Do you have to spend 5 minutes driving your horse cart to the location?
Sometimes,
and then you get killed.
Sometimes
and then you have to start over.
No, you don't do that. Thankfully, you're at least closer.
At least with GTA, you're going to get that though.
And there is some.
Oh, that makes it better.
Yes,
sometimes.
I've got this shit to put up with. Wow. Awesome. You're right. That does make me feel better.
Well, you don't have to play it. You're going to get into it. You know what I'm saying?
There is some fast traveling in here, too.
That's a sandbox game that is going to be that way.
I've derailed this.
That's all right. That's all right. I don't mind. I think that there's just too big as far as...
I'm defending a game I haven't even played yet.
There are way too many other... So back to my hand-holding thing, right? That's where we're at.
Why?
Hold hands?
I think that there is hand-holding in some of the basic things. There are some new additions they have to this, or some gameplay elements that they have to this that you can do, that they don't hand-hold you enough. They almost put them in there, but don't tell you about how to do any of it. And that becomes frustrating, where I just didn't even bother with it. And I'm like, well... And maybe that's on me. Maybe it's here if you want to take the time to learn what to do with it. Because there's this whole crafting and trading element where you build up... Because in the game, you're building up your homestead and kind of, you have the main cities that you're going to, but then there's this also area that's kind of like your home base.
Right.
And you're kind of helping these other people out. And then if you help them out, like with their little side missions, they'll come live in your area. And so now...
Wasn't that kind of in the games before?
Not
that sounds familiar is all. Well, I haven't played any of the games.
In Brotherhood, you were building up the city again, and kind of like...
And you had your manor house or something, right?
Yeah, and you were like hiring assassins. So it's similar that way. This is a little different as far as if you help this person out now, they're going to have like a lumber yard there. Or if you help this person out now, this person's a hunter, so you can like have access to their goods. And so you kind of create this little community. And so... Now you have these people that generate product for you.
Assassinate them all.
No, I don't kill these people. I help these people out. They're safe from me, for now. If they get lippy.
Somebody gives you a little lip. You start just playing with your knife.
Right, I just let it shoot out my wrist.
Yeah,
and then I like.
What was that again?
Start picking my teeth with it. Oh, that's really interesting. What are your problems again?
What have you done for me today?
Why are we talking? So then there's this trading and like crafting system, so you can build things and like make better things and then trade it. So you have to send a trader off, and there's like a risk that they could be robbed on the path, and then it takes a certain amount of time, and then if they go sell your ware, then you make money. So it's this whole other
you get
system.
to schedule the tour buses.
Exactly. That's what it feels like. So I'm like, well, this is a lot of work, and they don't really explain it very well.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm not even going to bother with it. And you cannot bother with it, so that's fine. You know, so it's not really a valid criticism. I just feel like maybe I would want to experience it all, but they don't help me enough to do it.
Now,
so it's all on me.
We commented on the tower defense stuff. Was that pretty mandatory in whatever game?
I believe it was. In Revelations, it was like you had to do it.
So I'm wondering if this is because a lot of people were vocal about disliking that, and I guess being forced to have to do it. And so I'm wondering if this is maybe sort of a like, oh, yeah, we got all this other shit in here. You don't have to do it if you don't want to.
And it might be, you know, that they wanted to maybe be a little less emphasis. But I didn't like that there was it didn't seem like there was an easy way for me to find out information if I wanted to.
No menus.
Like other than, and you know, there might have been some stuff in the manual.
Go in your house.
Online
I bet
manual.
there's some books on the bookshelf.
You can read them.
You can use your triggers to flip the page.
You should. And also,
Skyrim.
Yeah, that's correct. So it felt too big. It feels too big because there is just a ton of shit going on, and that's not, you know, them prolonging their gameplay by giving you more options isn't necessarily a negative, because it's good probably for people who want to do that.
Does anyone call you up to go bowling?
Nobody calls you up to go bowling. Stop trying to make it Grand Theft Auto 4.
I'm saying these are criticisms that
they wouldn't be
see in other games.
I'm gonna be fair.
Smoke signals.
It feels like fucking Red Dead.
Does it?
Yes, because when you're on the frontier and you're like in the wilderness,
oh, that's right. I
and
forgot
there's
this
animals
is in a different time
and
frame.
Yeah, I mean,
I completely forgot about that.
Sorry, I didn't preface.
Well,
I jumped right into the game.
Normal people would remember that.
You are playing basically the Revolutionary War, so I do like the setting in that way.
Are you gonna get Emperor Washington DLC or whatever that mission is?
No. In fact, I just ran
alternate realities. What if, Sean?
What if?
Hey, I'm all for that.
So here's the thing. I do like the story, though, right? So, but I'm sorry, the Red Dead thing, because you're running around in the wilderness, you're killing animals, you're skinning things, you know, building that stuff up. You don't have to do it, but you can. But it felt very Red Dead when I'm running around and.
So you're saying I'm never going to finish this game if I play it?
That's correct. You're not going to play it anyway. But you know, it is different than Red Dead when you're jumping out of a tree and stabbing a rabbit through the head with your assassin blade. But that's a little different than shooting it on the range. But it's pretty cool.
Difference.
I'm having a hard time getting into the story though too, and I think it's because of the pacing. There's some pacing problems for me, and you are doing some set pieces. I don't like that you do basically a mission or like a whole memory or whatever it is, your set of missions, and then you kind of just jump forward 6 months. Right. I do like the progression of time. I mean, it is changing the environment. Sometimes it's, you know, summery out, and sometimes it's like wintry, so you're going through the snow. So I like that they're changing that up a little bit.
Sure.
But I'm having some issues pacing wise with the game, and that's just based on the main missions. Sometimes just not being that great. Like I wasn't having a good time with them, and so I was focusing myself on. I need to play the game and not worry about all this extraneous bullshit that's around me. Like go find all these little hidden things, and I want to, and I still did, but it was hard. I tried to tunnel vision it and do my missions. And
then you're like, how am I going to keep this shit organized?
It was kind of the same thing you were talking about with Grand Theft when I did that, though.
Right. That's
where once I start doing that, I start realizing, oh, it's kind of all the same stuff, and it's not that exciting.
Right.
And I'm also having a problem with the game because part of my fun with Assassin's Creed was being able to do the assassin stuff and sneak around.
Yeah.
And it feels like this game wants you to fight more. Like it wants more combat, and so how they do that is they beef up everybody. They make there's more people.
Sure,
it's harder to get away from them. It feels, and I can't tell you how many times that I've tried to lose people when they've been following me.
Why don't you try?
And I turn around, like I reverse my camera. And so I'm running at the camera, and there's 15 redcoats behind me. Like no fucking exaggeration.
Like Indiana Jones there.
Yes, and it's no exaggeration. There's fucking 15 or 20. They're all running. Every corner I go around is another group of them.
Then be stealthy.
There's no way. It's impossible.
Climb a tree.
I try.
I'm sure you'll blend in.
So you try to hide. It feels like there's no way to get away.
Yeah.
And there's more people. So that's kind of less fun to me because I don't want to do the combat. I want to do the sneaky kill. Right. Or maybe if I want to go, you know, in everybody's face, I could. But it's just you're also going after these like forts that have like literally 100 people in them. And so it's just like fucking impossible. And it's kind of just annoying. I want to have fun with it, and it's not fun. It wasn't fun. I felt like I was trying to get to my destination point just going through people because they're going to find me anyway. So I'm going to take the path of least resistance, which is still fighting people.
Right.
And then try to not have anybody see me so I can do this real quick.
Right.
And so I kind of like the fun of clearing everything out and then doing it. And you don't get that. I wasn't getting that so far. So it's a little bummer. It is a little bit glitchy as well. I've ran into a lot of people that are just stuck in a street. So like just their waist is sticking out of the street and they're like moving. I've run into
watch out for that secret quicksand.
I've walked up to people and they've disappeared. I've turned around and people have disappeared. It's been a really glitchy on a lot of aspects.
I bet your memories are faulty.
That could be. And that's the problem.
There it is.
That's the fucking problem. Because sometimes things happen like that and I'm like, I could just see them like, well, that's supposed to happen because they're just, because they do that where everything kind of breaks down.
I
and fades
forgot
away.
about that aspect of the game.
So that's what I hate because I'm like, they could just say that, oh, well, they're supposed to, it's just memories. It's the machine acting like a fucking douche. But I, even one of those times I ran away. The easiest way I could get away was jump in the water, swim out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
I had 15 redcoats standing at the edge shooting at me, which is awesome in this game, shooting because they shoot and then they take
they have
then
to
they take
reload,
10 minutes.
Put some powder in there.
They do.
Put in a ball.
It's awesome.
That is awesome.
Because then you basically, as long as you avoid the one shot, as they stand there trying to reload their gun, you can just walk up and stab them in the head. Now, the problem is when you're trying to use your gun, you're in the same boat.
Right.
So you're running away trying to, like, fill your thing back up, your gun, your little pistol.
Yeah.
So I'm swimming away. I get out of their range of where they're aware of me. I turn around. As soon as that happens, there's one guy standing there. So they didn't disperse. They disappeared.
He ate them.
Kind of.
There's actually a supernatural element that starts to come in later.
But honestly, when it gets
They
that...
all jumped in the
demons.
water. And none of them could have swim.
all the weight of their equipment.
And he's like,
Did you look a little further down and see like bobbing?
I
red?
should have. That would have been great. They just all fell. Like one guy in the back fell and knocked everybody over like a bunch of bowling pins.
That dude's still standing there, accidentally turned to the side, and shot and went through everybody's heads because they were standing in line.
And my other problem with the mission structure is sometimes they seem like I mentioned before that some of the side things seemed unclear. Sometimes the missions seem unclear.
Oh, really?
Where I had one in particular where this guy,
I think the goal is going to be to murder somebody.
and this was not always, and this was Sam Adams that I'm talking to, because they do have the actual historic figures, which is awesome. And I really like that aspect because I love this and being able to be involved in the, the Tea Party, like the Boston Tea Party and stuff. And
You love murdering history.
doing that. Yeah, completely destroying it. Like I don't remember in the storybooks anybody teabagging a box of tea. Like I came up with that term. I invented it back in 1776 now, by the way.
teabag in a box of tea.
That was what the teabag was. I created it. My guy in Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
I rewrote history.
It was originally called the tea pocket.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I teabagged it. I'm like, hey, look at this, guys.
Teabag.
I can't remember the guy's name. Well, I can't remember the guy's name,
Sam
the main
Adams?
guy in Assassin's Creed, the guy you play, the current day guy.
I have no
God
idea.
damn it, I can't remember.
Paul Jenkins.
I hate myself.
Nico.
Anyway, so I'm in the middle of this mission, right? And I start this mission and he's like, all right, you follow me, I'm going to show you this thing. Okay. Guy's just standing there. So I'm like, okay, I start walking. He follows me. It's a mission where he's following me, right? So I don't,
Right.
but he's like, here, let me show you this thing. Let's, you follow me and I'll show you this. Okay, I guess I'll fucking walk there, which I don't know where I'm going. I had to look it up online because I didn't understand. And so they're like, what I saw online was, yeah, this is a little confusing because you actually have to lead him somewhere. Well, great. Maybe don't make me lead to the thing he's going to show me.
Right.
Because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
So there's a couple times like that where it seems unclear.
He's testing you to see if you've been spying on him.
It was.
actually.
I asked him, are you drunk, Sam Adams? But, the history stuff is interesting to me. I like that. I just wish I could focus more on just playing that and not have the burnout of some of those missions.
Sure.
Like, just adding up. It just seems like it's taken a long time to get into, and I'm having a really hard time. I want to enjoy it, but I couldn't. I also forgot to mention one of the other side missions they allow is these naval battles. Have you seen anything on those? Because you're you're on a ship and cannonballing these other ships, and it's really hard as fuck. But
Did you come up with that term too?
It's really
cannonballing.
I did,
Hey guys, check this out.
and I jumped in the water.
What are you doing?
Like, you're supposed to be driving and shooting.
Oh, I was making it up into something else.
So yeah, you're on.
What are you doing to that red coat?
You have to do these.
Cannonballing.
You have to do these naval battles where you're on a boat, set up your sails, you get taken by the wind. The sailing of the ship is really awesome, and you do feel the weight of it and the mass of it, and like when the wind hits,
right,
and getting around. But they're really hard,
yeah,
because you are having to have a sea battle with these guys and line up on the side, launch your cannonballs or your other cannons that you have.
And then you're like too far out. You're like, have to back up a little bit.
Forward. And it's hard to maneuver. And a lot of them are, you're protecting this other ship. It gets completely wrecked. I was having a really hard time with it, but it's really cool looking. And it's awesome when the other ship is shooting at you and you get that side view of the cannonballs coming at you. And like, it's just like a bunch of buckshot coming at you. And like, you see it tearing through your ship. And that stuff looks awesome.
That's cool.
It looks great. But it's really hard. Like, some of those stuff is just really hard, and I wasn't having fun with it at all. Like, I wanted to, because it looks great, but I'm no good at it.
Maybe you should get better.
Maybe they should have dumber ones. Like lower level, intermediate
They're
ones.
rowboats.
Yes. That'd be good. Hey. We just hold the cannonball over the side of the boat and drop it. It just goes through, and then he starts sinking.
Yes, you start there.
This gets us every time.
And you get into a 2-person canoe.
That'd be good. So I don't know how much more I'm going to play. I think I'm only like halfway through, maybe not even. I might be 40-50% somewhere around there. And I think that's probably counting all the little bonus stuff that you got to find and all that extra stuff that I still say I'm not going to do, and then I do it anyway because they're sitting there on my map, and I'm like, I'm right by it. I'm just going to get it quick. Well, now I'm by this one. I'm going to get this one. So whatever. So we'll see how much more I can play of it, but it's not pulling me in like 2 or Brotherhood. They're still the pinnacle for me. And I like those characters a lot and the stuff you were doing in that game. But I'd love to hear from somebody else. If you're out there listening and you've played the game and you're having anything, or you're noticing something that I'm not doing right that would make me enjoy it more, I'd love to hear from you. At least get backed up if I'm feeling the same way that somebody else is.
I'll probably have some more to comment on it next week.
You can play on
next
it?
show. I've rented it. I've rented it.
Sorry.
I've rented it.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Most Wanted won out.
Yeah.
Most Wanted was Most Wanted, yeah.
It probably still will.
Yeah. We'll see.
Let's be realistic.
We'll see. I might get it. Because that was the thing. I really liked the genre and the time period. I just thought that was an interesting little add to the game, and that's what's got me kind of interested in it.
Stick it out, because it's going to be a rough beginning.
I just need to put the disc in first.
Stick with it.
But I would love to see that assassin guy doing a cannonball off a ship. Cannonball!
Great game.
Just like till he pitch his nose, grab his legs. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
All right.
I think it's weird that he's cruising around in that suit.
Yeah,
like the suit really works in the other games for some odd reason. But
I agree with you.
But for some reason now,
I have a big problem with it too. And
he looks weird.
It's weird to me because in the cutscene, I see him standing in the suit with his the assassin logo.
Yeah,
talking to people who are Templars, who are their sworn enemies. Who, like, I don't know why instantly aren't like, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the storyline in this is kind of like
a cop walking up to a bunch of people smoking weed, and they're like, "Hey, man, want to smoke?"
The storyline in here is like the assassins are kind of like they've been done away with. They're not around. So he's like the second coming of these assassins, the guy you're playing, and so he's now walking around. But I would think these other Templar people that know the history, like your guy doesn't maybe know the history, but these guys should.
No, it's been a long time between, so they're like Shriners now.
Yeah, there you go.
They don't really know
they
the
have
reason.
A vague idea. There's something in the bylaws about assassins or whatnot, but we got that pancake breakfast next week.
I will say,
you want to come by?
They were driving around in those little
candies.
cars. So maybe that was, and they had fezzes on.
Templars.
I should have known.
That's how you know. That's how you know that they're Templars. They have fezzes on,
and all the little cars are parked outside the bar
because they've learned how to make the combustible engine.
But
just around during that time?
Just for their tiny cars.
Yeah.
Well, they're pedal cars.
Yeah,
They're pedal.
Darn it.
Anyway, so that was disconcerting to me, where I was like standing there in my full garb, and I'm like, you're not even trying to hide. Maybe that's why it's harder to get away from people and to hide, because you are terrible at it. You're like,
he's like, well, this is the way they did it back in the Renaissance.
You blended in. You blended in with everybody's outfits back then.
Yeah.
Like everybody kind of looked the same, and you just had like robes on, like everybody else did.
Yeah.
But here, everybody's got their fucking like 3-point hats on,
Yeah.
and you got a fucking hood with like a big A on it. Like, what?
Yeah, that's
It doesn't blend in so good.
no.
You're stark white. Everybody else is a fucking red coat.
He needs to invent camouflage.
He should. He should be better at it. What's the whole hunting thing at the beginning teaching you? Nothing. All right, anyway. It's enough about Assassin's Creed 3 for now.
All right.
Maybe more later. Anything else? Is that it?
Nope,
We're
that's
done? All right. SignedInPodcast.com is our website. Please go there to find links to myself on Twitter at SignedInPodcast, and Sean on Twitter at
Shonix.
and Craig on Twitter at
The Pull List.
The Pull List. And you can find links to our Facebook fan page, all of our past episodes, our forums, and all the other pseudo radio shows like The Pull List and 3 Die Block.
That's correct.
Listen to those. Or don't. I don't care, really. But let's just keep that between us. No, you should listen to them. You can email us at comments at signedinpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you over there on email. I mentioned last episode, if you could hear it in the background, because we had our recording problem, but we're doing contests.
Right.
I still haven't done anything, and I know we still have stuff to give away.
Yes.
But now I'm worried about fucking Thanksgiving going to ruin everything. So it might not be until after Thanksgiving.
There's no way we could theme a contest with Thanksgiving.
Maybe we will.
Gobble up the goodness.
Sounds like Craig will come up with something.
Or the following holidays.
We'll figure it out.
That's never been done before.
We have stuff to give out, so stay tuned.
Okay.
How about that?
All right, I will. I'll stay tuned.
You can't win.
Shit.
You are ineligible.
What?
I know. Life's a bitch, man.
What if I cut that out of the podcast?
It doesn't make it not true.
I'll be like, where's the proof?
We're not cutting anything, especially
What the? Yeah.
that joke,
Oh, that's bad.
that Tracy Chapman. That's go-to humor.
Bruce
top
Springsteen,
level. What?
though. Never mind.
Were you going to try
I
something
was
else?
segueing into a total show where Michael Scott thought he gave all of his fantastic Bruce Springsteen songs, and one was Tracy Chapman Fast Car, and the other two were Huey Lewis in the News. Oh, I love Michael Scott.
All right. Is that it? Next episode, I'm going to talk about some Halo 4, I promise.
All right.
I will too.
Sean will too, he promises.
I prom.
That was half a
I'm
promise.
not, you get half a promise from me.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2 comes out. That's
Yeah.
another game to spend some time with.
Yeah.
And Lego Lord of the Rings is coming out, which I might check out as well. We'll see.
They got the crazy little legs.
But mostly we'll probably just play some Need for
The
Speed.
Hobbits.
Most Wanted.
Yeah.
All right, we done?
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.